NBA free agency winners and losers. Lakers will be contenders, Heat and Mavs are TBD. NBA teams spent serious money in the 3 days of free agency, but there weren't many surprises, except for the dollar amount given to some players. Of the top 20 players in NY Sports' ranking of free agents, just 2 changed teams by reaching a new deal. Fred VanVleet left Toronto for Houston, and Donte DiVincenzo went from Golden State to New York. But Kyrie Irving returned to Dallas, Draymond Green went back to Golden State, Brook Lopez and Khris Middleton stayed with Milwaukee, Kyle Kuzma, even among Washington's rebuild, will be back with the Wizards, and Austin Reaves, Rui Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell didn't leave the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, 2 major players have situations that need to be resolved, but they weren't free agents. James Harden wants a trade out of Philadelphia, and Damian Lillard requested a trade from Portland. But status quo among the big names was the theme. Let's take a look at the winners and losers in the early days of NBA free agency. Fred VanVleet. In 2016, right after no team selected him in the draft, Fred VanVleet famously tweeted, "Bet on yourself." Since then, VanVleet signed contracts worth $18 million, $85 million and on Friday, VanVleet agreed to a 3-year, $130 million deal with the Houston Rockets. VanVleet's contract is the largest for an undrafted player in NBA history. The 7th-year guard from Wichita State turned into an All-Star with the Toronto Raptors in 2022 and was an integral member of the Raptors' 2019 championship. After his new deal with the Rockets, he doubled down on his original tweet, writing, "Again, with Dice." Rich Paul, Clutch Sports. Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul and his team of agents negotiated almost $500 million worth of contracts in the first 3 days of free agency. 3 years and $130 million for Fred VanVleet, 5 years and $160 million for Jeremy Grant, 4 years and $100 million for Draymond Green, 3 years and $55 million for Jordan Clarkson, 2 years and $8 million for Troy Brown, and 2 years and $4.6 million for Cam Reddish. With a few of his clients still free agents but expected to sign with teams, that amount will grow. Lakers Vice President of Basketball Operations continues to improve the roster in small but meaningful ways. It started at the trade deadline when the Lakers acquired D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Jard Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley, and it continued in free agency. The Lakers retained their restricted free agents Rui Hachimura, 3 years, $51 million, and Austin Reaves, 4 years, $56 million, and then reached deals with Russell, 2 years, $37 million, Gabe Vincent, 3 years, $33 million, Taurean Prince, 1 year, $4.5 million, Cam Reddish, 2 years, $4.6 million, and Jackson Hayes. That leaves the Lakers with a starting lineup of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell, Reaves and Hachimura, and depth featuring Vincent, Prince, Vanderbilt, Reddish, Hayes and Max Christie. There might not be a big-time free agent signing worth $100 million plus, but the Lakers made improvements that should ensure they're a contender in the West after reaching the conference finals last season. Draft Class of 2020. Memphis' Desmond Bane, Charlotte's LaMelo Ball and Indiana's Tyrese Haliburton cashed in massive extensions worth more than $200 million over 5 seasons, and for Ball and Haliburton, that total could top $250 million if they meet the designation maximum rookie extension criteria such as winning MVP, Defensive Player of the Year or making one of the league's 3 All-NBA teams. The Grizzlies secure Bane, who the last pick in the first round in 2020, and maintain a championship timeline with Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. The Pacers have the making of an all-star backcourt with Haliburton and Benedict Mathurin, and they just acquired Bruce Brown, free agency, and Obi Toppin, trade with Knicks, to go along with Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. The Pacers have something cooking. The Hornets have work to do with their roster, but they're building around Ball and should get an infusion of cash from a new majority ownership group. Phoenix Suns. With Devin Booker, Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal on the roster taking up much salary cap space, the Suns didn't have a lot of financial options in free agency, but on paper, they filled the roster and added depth with intriguing players. Eric Gordon, Yuta Watanabe, Keita Bates-Diop, Drew Eubanks, Damian Lee, Josh Okogie and Chimezie Metu. Time will reveal how good these deals are, but it looks like good start for Phoenix. Losers. Denver Nuggets. It's hard to be loser when you're less than a month removed from winning a championship. Can't take that away from the Nuggets. But the NBA moves fast, and Denver lost quality depth in Bruce Brown, Indiana Pacers, and Jeff Green, Houston Rockets, in free agency. The Nuggets will need to find ways to replenish what they lost. Even though Brown said it wasn't only about the money and Nuggets coach Michael Malone said on the parade day that Brown wasn't going anywhere, the $45 million from the Pacers was too much to ignore. Portland Trail Blazers. Losing the face of a franchise, especially one as beloved as Damian Lillard is in Portland, is never good. One could see this breakup coming for miles, but it doesn't make it any easier. The Blazers can salvage Lillard's trade request with a great deal, but it may be a few seasons before the Blazers see the rewards of such a trade. Portland GM Joe Cronin has franchise-changing decisions to make with Lillard. This is close to a to-be-determined situation, and the Sixers very well could end with a nice return on a Harden trade. But right now, the Sixers haven't done enough to keep up with the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Pressure is on President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey to make a trade that ensure the Sixers are contenders featuring 2022-23 MVP Joel Embiid. Thanks for watching NY News. Stay tuned for more updates.